Hey everybody, Black Ninja 797 here, and welcome back to another video, guys. In today's video, we're going to be actually discussing Back 4 Blood. The beta is going to be coming out very, very soon for this game, and I am so looking forward to it. In fact, I'm going to be making content on it like in tenfold. You guys are probably going to be seeing double, triple, maybe even quadruple uploads constantly for the initial first week that it's out, because I'm assuming it's probably going to last around a week. And I'm very much looking forward to it. Now, there is a couple things, though, that have yet to be said, though, about Back 4 Blood. And one of them that I wanted to mention is actually this. I don't believe I've also discussed this in a video either, so this may or may not be new to you guys, depending on if I have mentioned this before. If I have, I'll just mention it again in this video, and that's okay. You know, it makes it fresh in everyone's mind. But the one thing that I wanted to make this video for is the idea of a Back 4 Blood mode that can make the game extravagant. It would make the game to die for. It would make every Left 4 Dead fan be so thankful and happy. And that is the idea of a classic mode. Now let's discuss. So what do I mean by a classic mode? When I am saying classic mode, I am saying you're taking Back 4 Blood and you're giving it the game mode and the premise and the functionality of Left 4 Dead. So you could have the normal game modes, you can have, you know, Back 4 Blood's campaign, you can have the PvE, and you can have like survival and all that stuff. But somewhere in that list, you can have a game mode called Classic. Now, Classic would literally be just Left 4 Dead elements in the Back 4 Blood universe. You would end up making so that way all the Left 4 Dead mechanics from Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 would carry over, and you would just disregard everything from Back 4 Blood except for a few niche things that specifically have to stay just because of the way the game is. But I will walk you through what my envisionment is of the idea, and then you guys can actually compare and contrast with me down below in the comments. In fact, I highly encourage it, because I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but knock on wood, because this is just like one of those weird things that either I'm extremely good with theories, or I just somehow am like able to read people's minds and predict things just because like of just sheer luck. Because for some reason, certain niche things, if I'm passionate enough about it, whenever I make videos like this, these things just kind of happen regardless of whether or not that it was a mixture of me with several other people saying it, or maybe it was just me miscellaneously and they were just like, oh yeah, let's just do this for John. I don't know. But for some reason, I tend to get lucky. I mean, for example, the Social Space, I had the idea before it came out. I'm pretty sure other people did as well, but I thought that was a funny coincidence. I thought about how that you could end up having certain special infected ideas, and lo and behold, a lot of them got reinvented into that idea. Tons and tons of stuff. But anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. So let me know in the comment section down below, guys, what do you think about this idea at the end of it, of course, because you haven't even heard the idea yet, and just compare and contrast with me. I would love to get your opinions, so that way when I end up putting the Back 4 Blood in their title here, so that way the Twitter account can get this, that way hopefully they'll look at it and see all your guys' comments. But let's go back to what I was talking about. Now, I'm following through with the video too, especially because I ended up asking you guys this very question on my YouTube channel community section just only a few days ago, and these are actually the results. A lot of you guys, overwhelmingly so, said that you like this idea, so this already shows that this idea has already got some weight to it, and a lot of people really want to see it, so this is a good start. So, the Back 4 Blood Classic mode, it would literally, like I said, just be Left 4 Dead, but in Back 4 Blood, except for a few niche circumstances. So, this would include the following. You would have all the Back 4 Blood maps. You would have to keep them, because unless you're going to end up doing, like, remasters of Left 4 Dead maps, which I don't know if they would be able to do, but it'd be kind of cool if they would. But you would keep all the Back 4 Blood maps. You would, of course, keep all the Back 4 Blood survivors. Keep all the same guns, all that stuff. But you would end up removing the following and replacing it, actually, too, with some other following. What you would do is you would make it so that way the characters and the special infected don't have any, like, abilities. They just have, like, their normal base form. So characters are just cosmetic only. They don't have any crazy special powers. Same thing with the special infected. They don't have any crazy special powers outside their normal abilities. And by that, I mean is that, like, they can't end up doing things like with the cards, which is also kind of, like, implied. There would be no cards in this mode. It would just be pretty bare bones. You also wouldn't end up having it where the guns could have attachments. I feel like that would end up being too Back 4 Blood compared to Left 4 Dead. You would not end up having the upgrade station. You would just end up having all your health kits and ammo lying around out in the open. You would also make it so that way certain items and certain equipment would just be more prevalent, rather, just kind of like exposed to the world rather than having to buy it per se at an upgrade station. You would end up making it so that way the health functions in the way that I did with Left 4 Dead, so you would end up having 100, and then slowly but surely you would end up having green, yellow, red, and it just stays that health. It doesn't end up scaling up or down, or you don't have this weird thing where it just is never consistent. You would also end up having ammo stashes rather than just having to find and save ammo or playing it with cards. Like, you know, for example, instead of having pistols needing a card to have unlimited ammo, you would just make it so that way they just have unlimited ammo. Same thing with the primary weapons. Instead of needing to end up buying them at a station or just getting lucky with like a mag or two that you find on the ground with all these different types of ammos, you know, you get like heavy and light and all that stuff, you just pick up an ammo stash and it just works. Doors or whatever, they would not function where they have like these alarms or whatever, or just this sound effect that would just like alerts the horde because there's way too many of them. Copper would be removed so that way you just wouldn't have to buy stuff, it's just found rather, just based off of luck. You would end up having it where you have the normal inventory slot, so you end up having primary and secondary. You don't end up having the ability to have multiple primaries. You would also, in turn, make it so that way, you know, the infected can only end up doing certain things. So, for example, you would end up having it where the infected can't use their newer forms. They just end up using the remastered Left 4 Dead forms. But they're still obviously going to be in the game as their new skin models. So, for example, instead of having a jockey, just have the Hawker just be its jockey variant, or have the, you know, the tank end up being, you know, its normal tank variant. I'm pretty sure the tank's going to have non-tank looking variants, kind of like how the other special infected do. And you would remove things like the ogre and the, you know, the giant like monster thing that was in the one reveal trailer. I don't know what you still call that yet. I'm still going to be going off with the name that I came up with, but yeah, you would end up having just basically the classic original 8 infected, or the variants that you could at least get closest to that. So that way it feels more Left 4 Dead. But then again, though, I mean, I am open to the idea of the Back 4 Blood infected being in there, because, you know, Left 4 Dead 2 obviously, you know, had to do infected compared to Left 4 Dead 1, so maybe that wouldn't be a bad thing having the new ones, I guess. But at least just have equal amount of the other variants, like the old classics. And yeah, that would be pretty much the general idea. Of course, there would be some other stuff that I either didn't mention because I forgot, or just didn't mention just because I assumed it didn't matter at the time. But yeah, guys, I want the game to end up having a bare bones mode for the fans. Like, and by that I mean like the classic Left 4 Dead fans. Because you guys got to keep in mind is that Back 4 Blood is just as much a new game as it is basically a Left 4 Dead 3. Now, I know it's not Left 4 Dead 3 in a lot of people's eyes, but it's the closest thing we're going to get, at least for now. Hell, even if Left 4 Dead 3 did come out, I would still probably, to a certain degree, look at Back 4 Blood as some weird prequel or just some game in the middle, because it is very Left 4 Dead oriented. I mean, you gotta at least give it that. So, when it comes to Back 4 Blood, the way I look at it is that since it's been so long since Left 4 Dead 2, you're going to have just as many new players as you're going to have old players, especially when you end up having things such as cross-play and cross-gen play now involved. So I don't think that a classic mode would really hurt anybody, other than potentially messing up the player count. But like I said, if you have cross-play and cross-gen play, this shouldn't now be an issue, because originally Left 4 Dead, for example, only had the Xbox 360 and the PC. Now you end up having the Xbox One, the Xbox Series X, the PS4, PS5, and then you also got Steam and Epic Games. So you got 6 different platforms people can play on and play together. So unless there's some really weird thing that I don't know about with coding in the game, it shouldn't be an issue in my eyes. So yeah, other than a player count issue, or just because of the fact that, you know, Warner Bros. Might just say, hey, Turtle Rock, you can't do this, we want money, which I hope they don't do, I don't see why not. I really, honest to God, don't see why this would end up being a, you know, not possible. I would love to end up having this be the case. I would love to end up having the option of being able to rotate between the new Back 4 Blood era versus the old classics. Because unless there's some weird thing that's preventing the game from being able to end up getting all the old Left 4 Dead stuff, try to just get as close as you can. They already tried to do that as close as they can already. I mean, obviously by having some of the infected, even though they're new, have old functional variants of like all the previous infected, such as the Hawker being able to turn to the jockey, bringing back the tank what's called something else, you know, the Wrecker. And they even end up having some other classic fan-favorite guns, and they end up having some classic fan-favorite Easter eggs. They're trying to make this as Left 4 Dead as they can without basically making it a blatant Left 4 Dead. I mean, the only difference that I really am seeing is just certain special infected, certain survivors, certain maps, and then the game title. That's the only thing stopping this from being technically Left 4 Dead 3. Hell, it's really, really damn close. You gotta at least give it that. So, in my eyes, guys, a classic mode can only end up being good for the game. A classic mode would make it so that way the Left 4 Dead fans can be like, hey, you know what? Now I have the choice. Because that was one of the cool things about Left 4 Dead 2, is it kind of did the same thing with Left 4 Dead 1. Left 4 Dead 2 ended up having all the Left 4 Dead 1 content, and then it had, more to do, because Left 4 Dead 1, it was cool, but when you end up having Left 4 Dead 2, originally people were like, oh, I don't know, Left 4 Dead 2 was actually getting boycotted back in the day because it was, released 1 year exactly later from Left 4 Dead 1, but then they ended up bringing all the Left 4 Dead 1 content over, so it became basically like its own game again. Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 kind of just merged just to become Left 4 Dead. So, regardless of whether or not Back 4 Blood does that, officially or not, it's just cool to have the idea, or the choice of the idea. If they did it legitimately, cool. If they ended up adding in, like, all the Left 4 Dead 1 maps with all the Left 4 Dead 1 guns, if they ended up adding in the Left 4 Dead 2 survivors with all the Left 4 Dead 2 equipment functionality and special infected, that's also cool too. I would love to end up having that. I don't know how they would even do that, by the way, because technically Turtle Rock is no longer part of Valve, as I'm aware. But there's nothing stopping them from, like I mentioned a few videos back, about like crossover events and stuff like that, because some games do have that, like Zombie Army Trilogy and stuff like that. So, yeah, guys. Not to make this video too rambly, I'm just going to cut it off here, but let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think about this idea? Do you like this idea? Because so far, this idea is actually pretty solid in my opinion. I think that there's nothing stopping them from doing this at some point. Will it be in the beta? Probably not. Will it be at launch? Probably not, because the game already got delayed. But however, though, there's nothing stopping them, like I said, from just adding it at one point later. If they end up adding this even a couple months in, it will still, in the long run, pay off. I don't care if it's like even a year later. Just please find some way to do this, because the fans would absolutely adore you, Turtle Rock. It would not only make them earn your trust, but it will make them be so happy to play your game. I am almost positive that if you were to do this as a way to honor the old Left 4 Dead fans, not only would you earn their respect, but you probably would be able to make it so that way you would end up being a pretty substantial company in people's eyes. And if you ever made a game again, for example, like I don't know if you would ever do Back 4 Blood 2, for like the sake of like how there's Left 4 Dead 2, you could end up having it where people are like, oh yeah, I want to buy their next game because, you earned their respect, you earned their keep. And so, yeah, guys, that's basically my 2 cents. Once again, let me know what you think down below in the comment section. If you guys want to keep up to date with me on any of my social medias, they're always linked down below in the description. And if you guys could please also use code BlackNinja797 in all caps in the Fortnite and Epic Games item shops, that'd be very much appreciated, because Epic is now my very first sponsor, and this video is sponsored by them, so shout out to you, Epic Games. But I hope you ended up enjoying another YouTube video from the most unique YouTuber you guys are ever going to see. Thank you for watching, guys, and peace out.